Brian Finn, New Albany Eagles, going into the 2025 season. Always appreciate your time, Coach, and I love talking to you each and every year. And I know I think it was about a month ago or a little over a month ago, New Albany hosted a youth football camp, and just wondering how that was, and I guess how long you guys have been doing that for, getting the youth involved with your football program.
Yeah, wow. I feel like we've been doing it for, I don't know, definitely over 20 years. I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in there. It's been I think it's pretty standard at this point that, kind of all programs have that youth camp kind of like program built into what you do. Obviously, you want to get in front of the community and those things, but you also you want to start recruiting early. That's the name of the game. So to get kids excited about coming out there, Bobby Britton, our offensive coordinator and running backs coach, has been coaching with me for forever. He kind of like organizes it for me and kind of like really runs the whole thing. So without his help, I wouldn't be able to do it. But I think we had 120 kids, I think 125 kids or something like that
Wow.
show up. So it's a great opportunity for us to get in front of the kids, and it's an opportunity obviously to hopefully generate some buzz and excitement about the program.
Do you have a lot of players on the high school football team help with the youth camp?
Oh yeah. So we in New Albany, I don't know if this is unique to other high schools or not. I don't know. I only know what we do at New Albany, but our guys would do it not just for this reason, but we're able to build it into our service hours programs, which are part of the graduation requirement here at New Albany. I think our guys would do it regardless. But yeah, it's all our high school guys come out and they do a great job. We couldn't do it without them. Like there's 120 kids and I don't have 120 coaches. So, the fact that, we get these guys to come out there and what's really cool. And I've done this the last 4 camps that we've had, I get the high school guys are from the young guys and I say, all right, now, raise your hand if, you went to our youth camp. And of course, like all the guys that are playing for us have all gone through our youth camp, which is what we want. That's what you want. You want most of those guys that grew up going through the youth camp and now they're a part of our program. So yeah, I couldn't do it without those guys. And obviously our senior class did a great job of, kind of spearheading it and organizing it and getting it going. But yeah, it's we probably had 30 to 40 high school guys every day out there helping us out. And that was after we worked out in the morning. So, we do our strength and conditioning in the morning so we can get the guys out. And so they went straight from strength and conditioning right over there for, the 3 hours that we had the youth camp. So, yeah, I can't say thank you enough to the older guys that help out.
Now, I see you share this stuff quite often on Twitter, or I guess X, or whatever people call it nowadays. But I think it was like early summer. You shared something with the Miracle League of New Albany, and there's also something coming up next week. I think it's on the August 4th. There's a Swing for the Kids golf outing that's next week. And I know we've talked in the past about your involvement with like the New Albany Special Olympics, and then of course this Miracle League of New Albany. And I know it's something that's near and dear to you, and obviously it impacts me as well because my family has been around, the Special Olympics and things over the years. But just talk to me a bit more about your involvement, and especially with this golf outing coming up, and I guess your involvement with stuff over the last couple years.
Yeah. So we've always done Special Olympics since Special Olympics started back in like 2011 at New Albany. So we've always had our hand in that. And actually, I just coordinated with the Special Olympics people just a few days ago. They reached out and we're starting to set up our flag football stuff that we'll do probably sometime after Labor Day. So we've always kind of had the connection with that. Our guys also, there's something at New Albany called the Walking Classic, which is in about another month that they do at New Albany and here at the community. And they always reach out and ask our guys to come out and help out. So that's a second one that we do. The Miracle League thing, Miracle League, I want to say it's their 3rd season, maybe their 4th. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, they reached out to me at one point in time and Dr. Klingel, here in New Albany, he was our team doctor for the longest time. And then he decided that he wanted to start the Miracle League here in New Albany. So I kind of knew Dr. Klingel. He reached out to us at one point in time, and just I said, hey, if there's ever an opportunity to get the football team out there, and I kind of turned into us kind of going out there, and I think now, if I remember correctly, I believe they're up to 8 teams that they're able to have. So that's eight, or that's 4 games on Saturday that they play. And it's what turned into us just kind of coming out for like 1 or 2 games. Now we host all 4 games on one day. And yeah, it's I always tell the guys, like, I know you guys will do this because I'm asking you, and I appreciate that, but I really do think that you guys will get something out of this if you show up. You'll get to see that you know sport from a different perspective, and to see our guys that you would think that they're kind of shy or introverted, or maybe they're too cool for school or whatever it is, to work with these kids, that need some major assistance is really what's amazing to me. And it never ceases to amaze me that I'll get a parent, or one of the coaches from the other teams or whatever. They'll always say thank you, and I know they always appreciate that. But they'll say, hey, I don't know who number so and so is, because I give the guys jerseys. They're like, but tell them thank. The parents said thank you so much. Like, we can never get uh, you know, our son to get up and try and hit the ball, or he won't go out in the field or whatever. But your kid found a way to get him to do that today, and I can't say thank you enough. So yeah, the Miracle League is now our newest, or one of our newest things that we do, and again, it's all the guys do it, and I give them service hours if they do it, but a lot of times the guys don't even request the service hours. It's always there for them, but a lot of times they're doing it because they just want to do it. I think they think it's important, for the right reasons. And at the end of the day, that's really what we're trying to do.
Yeah, that's beautiful. No, I love that New Albany is very heavily involved in a lot of those things for the Special Olympics. It is beautiful. Now, I guess we'll transition to football because today is officially August 1st, and I guess how close is your team to being ready for Week 1, man?
I would assume that every other coach is probably going to give you the same answer, which is we're not. But
Yeah.
we got to get close to it anyways. Like, it's you know as I drew all the dates up on a whiteboard a couple weeks ago for our entire coaching staff. Someone was like, "Wow, like it's this game's going to be here real quick," and I'm like, "I know." Like, it seems like we're doing more, but it's like we almost get less days to do it in, if that makes sense. Like, schools are starting to start earlier. We've kind of, one of the things that we've kind of adopted to a little bit this year. We don't have quite, we're back down to a Division II program, so we don't have quite the 90s numbers and the 80s numbers that we've had in previous years. We're back down to more Division II level, where we're in the 70s. And so we're kind of an adapting sort of a kind of like a college model of two a days. We're only going to do probably 7 true two a days, when it's all said and done, which is the least amount of two a days I've ever been a part of since I've been here in New Albany. Part of that's by design, but also the part of it is just the reality of the calendar. Um, today was an amazing day for a lot of reasons. It was our first day, but in Central Ohio, it's truly a beautiful day. Like, it's not even quite 80 degrees today, August 1st. There's not a cloud in the sky. There's a wind blowing through. I turned to one of the guys I coach with, and I said, "Is this what it's like to coach in, like, maybe San Diego or someplace, like one of these nights?" Like, I just, not used to it. I'm used to the humidity, the locust,
Hmm.
whatever. And today was an amazing day for a first day. You couldn't ask for a better weather day. Um, but it's also bittersweet because with that, school's going to now start up, and so we went 2 days earlier in the week, and then we're going today, and then tomorrow is what we call Family Day, which won't be a true two a day. The following week, we'll go Monday through Thursday, and then we've got our first scrimmage with Dublin Scioto on Friday, and then Saturday will be kind of like that film walkthrough type day, and then the following week we have 2 days, and then I'm back in school. So, for as a teacher, so we don't have a lot of time, and so I think with the advent of the playoff expansions, which I'm not, I'm not pro or con necessarily, but the reality of that and the fact that schools are starting sooner and sooner, we now have less and less time to prepare. So, no, we're not ready, but in some ways we need to get ready, I mean, that's just the reality of it is, you got to find creative ways. We did some few things earlier in June and even into May that we typically don't do in the past. We're not quite doing the same things maybe other people are doing, but we're doing more to try and get us a little bit ahead of the curve once we hit late July, which is when we still really start ramping things up. So no, we're not ready. But if you ask me a week from now, I'll definitely feel like we're a lot more ready than we were the week before, and hopefully the week after that, I can say the same thing. And we're welcoming in a really good football team week one in London. They're a really good Division III football program, and so we know as a program and the coaches and players, we got to get ready. And we talked about that we got to get out of preseason mode and we got to get into practice mode, and that's just doing things faster. It's not we're asking anybody to do anything different. It's just we got to do it a little bit more efficient. We got to do it a little bit quicker, and we're just not quite there just yet. But the guys are. Other than that, the guys are doing a tremendous job. Really, really proud of our effort and our current buy-in, and the guys. Their optimism and their enthusiasm. All those things I can't ask for anything more from currently from our football team. It's just fine tuning those things that you want to be more of a habit, trying to get that sooner rather than later. But football's a process, it's a journey. We're not there yet, but I'm confident that we'll get there.
Did you mention that you guys are dropping down to Division 2 this season?
Yeah, no, well, we dropped down last year in Division 2.
Oh, that's right. That is right. Yeah,
Yeah, so we're
correct.
we're, we're a Division 2 program playing almost an entire Division 1 schedule. Just it is what it is, and our first two opponents, London's a Division 3 and Wadsworth's a Division 2, but they're as good of any Division 3s and twos, and they're definitely on par with a lot of our Division 1 teams that we play, as far as I'm concerned. So their division to me, it doesn't matter. They're both really good football teams, really good football programs, and there's no break in our schedule. It's the
No.
following week is another good team, another good team, another good team. So, we're trying to, going through it last year, a lesson that I learned as a head coach, like we got to learn to manage some things a little bit better. We got banged up really, really early last year, and it kind of continued as the season went on, and I never felt like we really got rolling because we were constantly having to mitigate and manage injuries and things like that. So we're trying to take a little bit of a different approach this year. We're doing not necessarily less, but we're trying to be more smart about how we're doing things, trying to balance that line between make sure we're getting our physicality in, but at the same time we're not overdoing it, and those hits over time hopefully won't catch up to us late in the year like they sort of did last year. So that's kind of where we're at. We're trying to manage that, and you got to learn to adjust as different challenges face you. And like I said, our numbers are a little bit of a challenge, and our schedule is a little bit of a challenge. But we say no excuses is no excuses. So we're going to try and find a solution to it and make the best of it.
Talk to me about your roster makeup this season, because I think last year when we talked, and you mentioned you guys had over 20 seniors. So you graduate, quite a few kids, which that's not totally unheard of in Division 1 or Division 2 football when you have larger programs. But I know that you had a bunch of seniors that made the all OCC teams, a handful of guys on first team, second team. I'll shout out a few of these names here. You had Gabe Kofer, Jaden Yawson, Clay Carr, Hunter Howard with the second team. You had Miles Jackson, Bo Anders, Ashton Allen, and Will Ola. And then your second team punter was Chance Bradley. So what's the roster makeup look like this year? Are you a younger team?
So New Albany is this has kind of always been kind of like who we are. So we are always somewhere in the 20s when it comes to our classes. Sometimes it might be closer to 30. There's been some years we've had over 30 in a class. This year our senior class is in the 20s. Hunter and Bo were actually juniors last year, so thankfully they're coming back. And they're both doing a great job. So they'll be seniors this year. But you're correct.
Mm.
We were mostly a heavy senior laden team, which is kind of how it sort of is most years with New Albany. Um, this year it's we have a smaller junior class and we have a larger sophomore class. So when it all shakes out, I think we're gonna obviously have a lot of seniors that maybe didn't play a ton last year, but they have experience in different ways, and that's kind of how New Albany's always been. So we're going to replace a lot of those guys with what I always say kind of similar guys. It's kind of like, we graduate a class, and then the next class that comes in is very similar, makeup wise, as the class before them. So one of the things that I think our senior class might have that's a little bit different than last year's classes is we're a little bit deeper, with some linemen. We've got some offensive and defensive linemen. You mentioned Bo and Hunter. There are two of those guys. We got a guy, Michael Ryan. We got a guy, Nathan Apple, that all played a little bit last year. Luke Ellis is another senior that played some for us last year, and then finding a way to mix them in with our upcoming, juniors, our skill guys. So Jet Jewers was a sophomore last year, really came in his own about midway through the season last year. He's on a lot of Division 1 radars this year, so we're very excited about his potential heading into the season. Evan Muirfield's another played some as a sophomore that'll be probably a starting tight end slash defensive end for us this year. Pretty excited about him. We've got Jade Hoover coming back as a guy who got to play, start a lot of games for us last year as a quarterback. So we're anticipating him being our starting quarterback coming back this year. So New Albany always is we're always kind of the same. It's we graduate, a bunch of good kids, and then we get another group of kids that are coming back. The only difference right now is our junior class is a little bit smaller. In terms of what we typically have, we're probably under 20 with them, but then we got a big sophomore class right behind them, that we're going to count on early on, to have to grow up real quick for us. They're going to have to kind of replace those missing numbers, that the juniors have. I've always believed this for as long as I've been a coach, that I really think that, your season sometimes can come down to the junior class more than the senior class. Your seniors, need to set the table, and they need to make sure things are going a certain way. But it's that junior class that has to fill in the cracks, and they're the ones that have to really help support those seniors and what they're trying to do. And so, since we don't have quite as many juniors as we've had in the past, we're kind of, we're trying to expect these sophomores to have to fill in those gaps where typically, if we had a larger junior class, they could do it. But we're excited about our sophomore class. I think there's a lot of talent in there. They're working really hard. We have about 40 guys playing freshman football. So we're hoping that, our numbers may be down a little bit right now, but we're trying to build them back up. And I'm confident in the next 2 or 3 years, we'll be back to that, 80, 90 guys that we typically have in our football program to help us go out there on a Friday night and compete.
Now, you might have mentioned these kids already, but who steps in, at the running back position? Because I know you had some really talented guys last year that graduated that I mentioned, and I know your offense, it's predicated on. I mean, obviously you want to be balanced, but I know you love the running game. So who steps in at that position?
Yep. So Jet will definitely be one of our main guys. He'll probably be that guy that on everybody's board of, hey, we got to stop this guy. Like I said, he's very talented. He's got the looks. He passes the eyeball test. Good athlete, and the thing that I've been most happy, impressed, and proud of him, is how he's come into practice this year. Sometimes when you're the most talented guy in the room or on a team or something, you can kind of just coast by because you're just better than everybody. But he's learned how to practice, and when one of your best players practices a certain way, it forces everybody else to have to practice a certain way. So, been very proud of his efforts and things. So definitely Jet. Grant Nelson's a senior, that unfortunately, had a knee injury about halfway through the year last year. That derailed his season that he was having. He was having a pretty solid junior year, so we're going to get him back. We got a kid named Lewis Justin, that he's a senior, also a running back. I think he's a great foil to Jet. I think that the two of them, when they both get on the field at the same time, there's a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism out there. And then we got a young man named Mason Ackerman, who's a junior. He's going to play a lot of both linebacker and running back for us. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife type football player. He's a throwback football player. He does it all. He may punt for us this year. He may end up kicking off for us this year. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like every time we need something, Mason's like, well, I can do that. And so we throw Mason out there. So he's a throwback. He might be, in my opinion, he may not get all the accolades and things that maybe some of the other you know true athletes or players get. But in my opinion, he's maybe him, Hunter Howard. When I think of those two guys, they might be two of the best overall football players that we have on our team. There's a difference between an athlete and a football player, and guys like Bo Anders and Hunter Howard. We got another guy, Michael Igwe, who's going to play some defensive end for us. Mason, those guys are true football players, and you obviously need those, and those are the guys that obviously you got to lean on when times are rough and things aren't going well, and I feel strongly that those guys are the type of guys that we can do that with.
Well, good luck to you, Coach, this year. I really appreciate you hopping on and talking football for 20 minutes, man. It's always good to talk to you, and I hope the New Albany Eagles get back to their winning ways. And always appreciate your time, man. And good luck with the rest of the offseason.
I can talk football all day. I can practice all day and talk football all day. So, we appreciate you having us on, Will. And I always say, thank you guys, Storied Rivals, for all you guys do. Um, it's always good to have you guys do what you guys do. So thank you.